Greetings, everybody. We're in the Pure Worship book.
Mm-hmm.
What page are we on?
We are on page 115. The subheading is Bones Began to Come Together.
I'm beginning to read from that subsection, paragraph 10 on 115. I'm reading from the screen if I look like I'm staring off into space. Vivian's reading from the book.
Yeah.
Bones began to come together. In ancient times, Jehovah foretold that his people would experience a progressive restoration to life. That is a notable word for them to use. So what were some of the factors that gradually restored to God-fearing exiles the faith that their hope of returning to Israel would be fulfilled? One source of hope must have been the prophetic statements made by earlier prophets. For example, Isaiah had foretold that a remnant, a holy seed, would return to the land. And here, interestingly, they reference both Isaiah 6:13 and Job, which was a setting about 1,000 years before that. Job 14, where Job wonders whether a tree being cut down can be restored. Also, the many prophecies of restoration that Ezekiel had written down, no doubt, kept that hope alive. Further, the presence in Babylon of such faithful men as the prophet Daniel, as well as the amazing fall of the city of Babylon in 539 BCE, must have bolstered the exiles' hope of return.
How did a similar gradual restoration occur among the Israel of God, the anointed Christian congregation? Many centuries into the long period of death-like captivity, a noise, a rattling sound, was heard as God-fearing individuals rose up in behalf of true worship. For instance, in the 16th century, William Tyndale prepared a Bible translation in English. The Roman Catholic clergy were angered that the Bible could now be read by the common man. Tyndale was killed. Even so, other courageous individuals continued to produce Bible translations in additional languages, and spiritual light gradually spread throughout the dark world. Later, when Charles T. Russell and his associates began to work zealously to restore Bible truths, it was as if sinews and flesh came on the bones. Zion's Watchtower and other publications helped honest-hearted ones to discover spiritual truths, which moved them to join themselves to God's anointed servants. In the early 1900s, God's anointed people were further energized by such tools as the photodrama of creation and, get this, the book The Finished Mystery. Shortly thereafter, God's time came to make his people stand on their feet. When and how did that occur? Events that took place in ancient Babylon help us to answer that question.
Well, you laughed when we prepared this because you thought, well, if you're going to be energized by the finished mystery, it's going to be to leave the organization.
Yeah.
But this is their preferred narrative. It's been one heroic struggle after another, and part of the struggle is because we were humble enough to receive new light as it became available to us.
And
unfortunately, you weren't humble enough to shut up.
Yeah.
While you were waiting for new light to come. You thought you had it. That's the conceit of it. But back to the first paragraph 10 on 115. Again, they're stressing the idea of continuity here, saying that the prophetic statements of Ezekiel were in continuity with the past. For instance, Isaiah 6:13, the tree that's cut down and becomes a stump.
Yeah.
And that idea is also found, as we said, in Job 14, 1,000 years before Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel. So the continuity idea, I have no problem with this. This is a right concept. The problem is, by the time you get to the next paragraph, you're dealing with people like William Tyndale, who is certainly not in continuity with the man you're comparing him to here, even in the illustration on the page, right?
Yeah, so if you're talking about, you're switching corpses, like you're not You're not making the corpse have continuity with even the people.
Or the stump with the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you've got a maple stump there, and suddenly an oak comes up.
Yeah.
You know, there's no, you know, you're just making it up as you go along, finding things and then using the phrasing, the words, but not making real sense of it.
Show everybody that picture of Tyndale. This is on page, 116 or 150? 160.
This is 116. Here, I'll try and get it close.
Let me see what we can do here. There you go.
Okay.
On the left, you see bones, and you see Tyndale sitting with a colleague,
Yeah.
sitting at a desk, apparently translating the Bible. And then
Yeah.
over here, you've got another picture in the center of your screen now of Charles Taze Russell going around the world with one of his colleagues, traveling. Well, translating and traveling are two different activities.
Yeah.
Now, Tyndale was a great scholar, and by the way, he's not. First of all, he's not an Israelite, so he's not part of he's not part of the Restoration either.
Yeah.
But you're not in continuity with Tyndale, let alone with Israel. You're out of continuity with all of Christian history. William Tyndale and his friends that you allude to here, you say other individuals. William Tyndale and the other individuals did not believe what you believe as a Jehovah's Witness. So the idea of continuity doesn't work here.
Restoration has to be of the original, not something new.
Amen. Now, I've alluded to in my version of this on screen, what came to mind was Jeremiah 6. And this is a text that's meant a lot to me over the years, because look at Jeremiah's recipe and then think of Malachi too. The very last passage in Malachi, the very last passage in the English Old Testament, has to do with looking back to Moses, continuity, and looking forward to Elijah coming one day in continuity. A prophet in continuity with another prophet. You have no such thing going here. Here's what Jeremiah said. This is Jeremiah 6, 16 and 17. Thus says Yahweh, that is the Lord, stand by the roads and look and ask for the ancient paths. The King James says old paths, where the good way is, and walk in it, and find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk in it. I set watchmen over you, saying, pay attention to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not pay attention. So Israel's problem was they did not walk in continuity with their prophetic past. You do not do that. You confess you don't do it because you needed truth to be restored, you say.
Yeah, so it wasn't a matter of needing new light. It was a matter of looking at what came before.
In continuity with the Christian past. Now, just by, I don't think it's a coincidence, but at the very same time as Charles Taze Russell was getting the Watchtower going in the 1880s, this book was published. Old Paths, JC Ryle, the great Anglican commentator. Well, he's not really a commentator, he's an expositor of the Bible, and a great preacher and a great clergyman. And in his book, Old Paths, why did he call it that, first of all? In the 1880s, he's an old man by this time, in his 60s. He's just become the Bishop of Liverpool, the first Bishop of Liverpool. And at the beginning, in the introduction or preface to the book, he gives you the reason he picked this title, Old Paths. He says, the name which I have selected will prepare the reader to expect no new doctrines in this volume. It is simple, unadulterated, old-fashioned evangelical theology. It contains nothing but the old paths, in which the apostolic Christians, the reformers, the best English churchmen for the last 300 years, and the best evangelical Christians of the present day have persistently walked. I would add, consistently walked. From these paths I see no reason to depart. They are often sneered at and ridiculed as old-fashioned, effete, worn out, and powerless in the 19th century. Be it so. He doesn't care. So, yeah, the criticism at the time was Christianity has to be refreshed. The Restoration movements were the popular movements. They were the growing movements. Ryle is saying no to all of it. This is not the solution to our spiritual crisis. The crisis is to go back to our evangelical roots, which he dates back to the apostles. And I have now come to agree with him, although I didn't see it then.
Yeah.
What are our links?
Oh, are we finished?
I think we
I
are.
had more notes.
The restoring of the Bible truths is the key thought that I think they're after here. Well,
Yeah.
no, you can't have continuity and restore Bible truths.
Yeah. So the energized by the finished mystery, I guess I would ask, if it was such an energizing work, why is it not in publication anymore? And actual discouragement of reading it
Yeah.
when you're still recommending it here.
Yeah. Bragging about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the link I have is one on William Tyndale. It was a reading from Victor Shepard's So Great a Cloud of Witnesses.
Wonderful title, eh? So
Martyr.
great a cloud of witnesses.
Yeah. Tyndale, martyr, unlike JW org, Christian scholars do not whitewash their own history.
Yeah, I think I can recommend Vivian's entire series. I had nothing to do with it. She put it together 2-3 years ago based on that little book, which
Meant so
was
much
so
to
important
us,
to
yeah.
us when we first came to Streetsville.
Yeah.
Because he had written this book without any knowledge of our background, and here we are in his congregation, thinking about the same text. So great a cloud of witnesses that God has had, consistent with the past, and always valuable because truth can't be outmoded, can it? And it can't be lost.
And we were going to put on the playlist of the teachers. He gave teachers, which has 1,600 plus videos.
1,600
all recommending teachers.
Christian books
through the ages.
Because we have received criticism over the last few years, well, really from the beginning, but a trickle of criticism from the beginning. How come you can't leave your past behind and get over your being Jehovah's Witnesses?
And that you're only supplying negativity. But there's 1,600 videos. Just watch those then. You get lots of positivity.
Recommending Christian books that most of which are still in print. By far the majority of them are still in print without the embarrassment attached to the finished mystery and all other publications before your era. See you next time.
Bye.